Welcome, dear students. As you know that I'm continuing the backcross method. In that, now I'm going to deal with the procedure of backcross method for transferring dominant gene. As you know that backcross is being used for uh, uh, correcting the defects in your most popular variety. So you are going to correct one or two traits, and that traits are being governed by the major genes having the high heritability. So here we are going to deal, as you see that, say for example, if you are going to transfer the disease resistance gene, that in due course of time a variety which is very popular has become susceptible to particular race. So try to see that what is the genetics of that particular disease, and if you are finding that the disease resistance for that particular disease is being controlled by a single major gene which is dominant over the susceptible. So in this way, what you are going to do with that, your variety or any trait, if you wish to transfer in your most popular variety to correct its defects or to have improved version of that variety, so you have to see through the references that what is the genetics of that particular gene, whether it is controlled by single major gene, whether it is controlled by minor genes, whether it is controlled by a dominant gene, or whether sometimes the resistance is controlled by a recessive gene. So here I am going to deal with the, say for example, your most popular variety, wheat variety, has become susceptible to stem rust. So if you are finding any wild relatives or any land races which is not which is low yielder, but it is having the dominant gene for the resistance, so you can use that variety, that genotype, as a donor parent to transfer that particular, that only that gene for resistance in your popular wheat variety. So now I am going to do that. What you are going to do in first year, what you are going to do, selection of parents and hybridization. You are selecting the parent definitely, your recurrent parent will be your own variety which has become susceptible. Donor you have to search through the references or through your own experience, and you have to see the genetics of that particular gene which you are going to transfer. That is very important. So here I am assuming that this rust resistance is governed by a single major gene which is dominant over the susceptible. So we have taken that donor parent, maybe land races, maybe wild relatives, maybe your cultivated varieties, maybe your high yielding varieties, other varieties which is having that gene. So you are taking as a male donor. Generally we are taking as a male because particularly generally most of the genes are located in the nucleus, so nuclear gene. So generally we are concerned with the nuclear gene which is going to be transferred, but sometimes we require the cytoplasmic genes also from donor parent for certain traits like male sterility and other things. cytoplasmic male sterility and other things. So in that case you can do something, but here in normal cases when you are going to transfer a gene from donor parent which is available in the nucleus, which is nuclear gene, you are going to transfer. Generally the genes are, majority of the genes which you are going to transfer is available in the nucleus. So in that case you try to use donor parent as a male parent, as a pollinator. Don't use it as female, because once you are going to use it as female, that will transfer cytoplasmic genes also, which you don't require, because in back cross breeding what is our objective, that you remove almost all the genes of donor parent, and you recover all the genes of recurrent parent, because farmers are asking that I need only that variety with the added advantage which they want, one or two genes. So you have to use, in this case you have to use your recurrent parent as a female. Here I have given you, this is your recurrent parent, you can say it recipient parent also. Here you can say the donor parent, you can say non-recurrent parent, because you are using only once. The donor parent is being used as only one, just as a pollinator in first year, and then after you are not going to use that donor parent. So you have pollinated, you have taken pollen in first year, you have grown both the varieties side by side, and you have emasculated this parent A, and you have taken pollen grains from parent B, and you have pollinated. Even single panicle is enough. So you harvest that from A, which you have pollinated, which you have hybridized. This has become hybrid seed. A single panicle which you have emasculated and pollinated with this is your F1 hybrid seed. You take it after harvesting, proper threshing and proper drying, you put it in your cool chamber for using it next season or in next year. So here you are going to I have explained that high yielding commercial or widely adapted mega varieties having any defect like susceptibility to any biotic or abiotic stresses is used as a recurrent parent. Recurrent parent is normally used as female, which I have already explained. So this is here, and you have crossed and you have harvested and you have taken seed for growing it next year. Example here I am putting if a popular wheat variety has become susceptible for stem rust, and rust resistance gene is governed by dominant gene. So this is about the hybridization you have made. In second year, what you are going to do in second year or second season, you are growing F1. So if you are growing F1, you see this resistance is governed by capital R. This your mega variety is smaller for that disease. So in F1 you are going to get capital R smaller for that gene for which you are interested to transfer. But all other genes, if you talk, here in F1, 50% all other genes are nuclear genes, are from donor variety here in F1, and 50% genes of nuclear genes as well as 100% cytoplasmic genes you have got in F1 from parent A, recurrent parent. So you have got capital R, small r, for which you are interested. We are not dealing other genes. Here we are interested to deal with this. And later on we are going to recover all the genes of the full genes of cytoplasm and almost all the genes of this recurrent parent. That is why we are using every season, in every year we are crossing these progenies with the recurrent parent small r, which is variety A, parent A. This is parent A. The parent A you are using as a pollinator here. Once you have used cytoplasm of this, that cytoplasm will continue till end, no problem. Now you use it, you emasculate this F1 hybrid. Here I want to tell you that in F1, all the plants, as you know that all plants are heterozygous, capital R, small r, but all are homogeneous, means all plants are showing the resistance to stem rust. So there is no need of selection. You take any plant, you take any panicle, a single panicle is enough. You take any panicle and you pollinate. You have grown this also, the recurrent parent, side by side of this your hybrid F1, and then you pollinate it, emasculate it and pollinate it. Even single panicle is enough. So you harvest that panicle and now you are taking that seed for growing it in next season. And in next season, the seed which you have harvested, this is BC1 seed, back cross generation 1 seed, and the plant which you are going to grow in the next season will be BC1 generation. So as you are observing that this is a very interesting breeding method. Of course, breeder needs to visit every season for this particular cross, because every season you are going to select the plants and every season you are going to make back crossing. So now come to third year. This was the second year you have seen, and you have selected the plant. All the plants in F1 generation were heterozygous but homogeneous. There is no scope of selection. All the plants are disease resistant. So capital R, small r, all the plants capital R, small r. So you take any panicle, you cross it, pollinate it with the recipient parent, parent A, pollinated, you have harvested, and now in third season you are growing, in third year or third season as a BC1. So you have grown, if you are growing BC1, if you see that if you are crossing between this, 50% you are going to get small r, and 50% plants will be available like capital R, small r. So you have to select the resistant plant. Here, one thing I want to emphasize to real breeder that go to the field and see that this BC1 is grown. Whatever seed you have harvested, you grow all the seeds. 30, 40, 50 plants. Very small number of plants are required here. So 30, 40, 50 plants you have grown, and once you have grown 50 plants maybe, so you will be finding 50% plants are susceptible and 50% plants are resistant. So what you are going to do, all the susceptible plants you are not going to select, you are going to reject susceptible plants. So what is your work? You have to see in BC1, you have to see the resistant plant, you inoculate the inoculum, and you be very sure the plant which you are going to select is resistant, is capital R, small r, this one. You have to be very sure. Once you have inoculated and it has shown resistance, it means it is capital R, small r. So you select that plant. But there are several plants which are resistant, 50% plants. So among those, for the breeders, I'm saying, as experienced breeder, I'm saying you that be very, very serious about that. There are many resistant plants, but you are going to select only that plant which is showing most of the phenotypic characters similar to the recipient one. So you are going to recover most of the genes of recurrent parent in your progeny in early generation. So you do that. This is very, very, very important that you are going to select that particular resistant plant. There are several resistant plants. Only that plant you are going to select which is very closed looking to your recipient parent, which you have grown here, side by side. You select that one, you emasculate. One pencil is enough. You emasculate one pencil and you take pollen grains from the recurrent parent, which you have grown here also. You take pollen grains and pollinate it with this. You have got 30, 40, 50 seeds. You harvest it to grow it in the next generation. What you are going to do? You have crossed between capital R, small r, small r, small r. I am talking only one gene, nuclear gene. So come in the fourth year, that is BC2, back cross generation 2. Here also the same thing is going to happen in BC2 also. Same thing you are going to do in fourth year, you are going to do in BC3 also, you are going to do same thing in BC4 also, same thing you are going to do in BC5 also, in seventh year also. So you are repeated backcrossing. Why you are doing? You to achieve maximum genes of A variety, which is recipient variety, maximum gene. So you are recovering most of the, as you have seen already in my example earlier in part 1. So here also what you have seen in BC5, you are rejecting this susceptible, you are selecting the resistant plant, and that resistant plant which is most closer in appearance, in phenotypes to your recurrent parent, and rust resistant plants similar to ACE, now you self-pollinate it. Here in BC5, you are again crossing it to get BC6. Here you are again crossing it to get BC6. Now in BC6 you are going to for selfing. So in BC5 also you have done the similar thing, similar to BC1. Now you are harvesting the seed. You are going to get in earth year or earth season BC6 generation. You are growing BC6 generation. 50% plants are susceptible, 50% plants are resistant. Now you are selecting the resistant plant here, most closer to your recurrent parent. This is resistant, most closer to recurrent parent. You can self it. Once you are selfing it, what you are going to get? Capital R is crossed with capital R. So in that way you are going to get BC6 F2. So you have selved the BC6 generation, the resistant plant you have seen it is capital R small r, which has been selved. If you are selfing the capital R small r, you are going to get what? You are going to get capital R, small r. So whatever plants you have selected, you have harvested separately in BC6, you are selfing it, and you are growing the progeny row of that separate harvested plant. So individual plant progeny is grown, as you are seeing here. All these plants are different. So individual plants have been grown. Select resistant plants most similar to variety A. You have to be very particular. You select the resistant plant from any row, any progeny, but that plant must be looking almost very similar to your parentage, the recurrent parent, the recipient parent. Then only you will be successful, otherwise no. So you are selecting, so you are not knowing that whether you are selecting capital R, you are selecting capital R, small r. You are rejecting, of course, you are rejecting all these. You are rejecting, of course, by testing the resistance, you are going to discard, of course, but you are unable to differentiate between these, because capital R small r is also resistant, and capital R is also resistant. So you are don't bother for that. To select resistant plants most similar to variety A, harvest them separately. Whatever plants you have selected, you harvest them separately, and you are going to you have self and harvested. Now you are going to grow in 10th year, 10th season, BC6 F3. In BC6 F3, what is going to happen? Once you are selfing, as you are not knowing that which plant you have selected, whether capital R or capital R small r, if you have selected capital R, so if you are growing progeny row, try to grow now 2 rows of, to understand properly, 2 rows of every plant progeny which you have selected. So here, if you have selected a plant, you have grown individual plant progenies here, you are finding all the plants in one progenies having capital R. If you have saved that, you are going all the plants capital R. So all the plants in that progeny will be resistant. All these plants, not a single plant you are finding which is susceptible. Once you are finding a single plant in that progeny, it means the plant which you had served, that was having capital R small r. So you are going to get this type. So you are going to get this type. So you reject this type. You select this type, where all the plants in that progeny have become homozygous for that gene and resistant. So here, homozygous progeny similar to variety A. You have to be very particular that whether you are going to select this, which is all the plants resistant, here which one. So which one progeny is most closer to, in phenotype, most closer to your recipient parent, that must be selected and harvested. All the seeds of that is harvested in bulk. Now you are going to start your trials in next season. So in 11th year or 11th season, you are going to grow BC6 F4. You grow it for trial. Replicated yield trial along with checks and recurrent variety. You grow the recurrent variety and some checks you can also put, and you you go for replicated yield trial so that you can judge the yield potential. It must be similar to your recurrent parent. All the traits must be similar to recurrent parent, otherwise farmers are not going to adopt your variety, accept your variety. They are not going to accept if you are making other changes, except that particular resistance gene. So in this trial you can very well judge that your variety is almost similar to variety A, and the variety has become your resistant variety for that particular disease, which was creating lot of trouble to the farmers. So you have selected it. Now you can go for all India trial. Nowadays, in coordinated trials, generally, maybe in almost all the crops, it may be happening. As in rice, it is happening that if you are going to improve the variety, instead of 3 years testing, they are requiring 2 years testing, because there is no yield advantage or other things to be just too much. The variety is most similar to the variety recurrent parent. Yield potential is almost similar, maybe little bit higher, no problem, but lower should not be. Lower yielder should not be, may not be accepted. So all these tests are being done in All India Coordinated Trial for 2 years, and disease test for which it has been done. So all other tests are done in 2 years in All India Coordinated Trial. Once it is succeeding, it is successful, then in 14th year you go for BC6 F7 generation, you go for release and seed multiplication. So this is a beautiful breeding method, you can say, particularly in self-pollinated crops, for the improvements. The improvement, once you have come up with the improved variety, the variety name will be same. Say for example, if Swarna has been improved by putting sub1 gene. Now it is well known as Swarna sub1. So like that, improved Swarna, or you can say improved Sarna, but it will be confusing that for what it has been improved. So Swarna sub1. Now it is very popular, the rice variety Swarna sub1 is very popular. So of course that has been made by molecular assisted backcross breeding. The technique is same. In molecular backcross breeding method, assisted backcross breeding method, in very early generation, even in BC2 itself, BC2F2 itself, you are going to get almost a most closer plants most closer to your variety A, recipient variety. So all these generations are removed. So very early, in very that is reducing the duration of backcrossing. If you are taking help of a molecular technique, so that is helping you. So of course the system, the technique is the same, the backcross breeding. So this is all about the procedure. Now I will be dealing with the merits and demerits of all backcrosses. So now you try to see the merits. You can yourself judge the merits of this backcross method. Of course, I will be dealing one by one. I feel that you will be convinced with that variety, the genotype which you have developed is improved version of the popular variety and phenotypically similar to recurrent parent or recipient parent. Hence, farmers are easily accepting the improved version of the variety because that variety is already popular among the farmers. So don't improve those varieties which are not popular among the farmers, because that will not be useful to have this much expenditure, this much duration. So don't use those varieties. So once you have developed it, the merit is that farmers are accepting it because, oh, it is our variety with improved version. They are happy with that. Second, no need of extensive testing for yield, as it is supposed to be similar to the recipient variety. Of course, there is no requirement of improvement in yield. Of course, if you are getting some improvement in yield also, doesn't matter. But you have to be very cautious about that. That should not be lesser yielder than that variety, and all the phenotypes should be similar to that, as well as that particular trait which you wanted to transfer. So here, much smaller population is required as you need a single plant. In every generation you see that you are selecting a single plant, so not much larger population is required as you are requiring in transcriptive segregants. You are getting a lot of 50% resistant plant, 50% susceptible plants. So you take any plant which is most closer to the single plant, you are going to get it. But in transgressive segregation, transgressive breeding, you are going to search is a particular variety through which you are going to develop a new variety. So here very small population is required in backcross breeding. So this is this is most useful merit, you can say, that it doesn't require much greater population. Then fourth, backcross may be modified to produce transgressive segregants, though it is not considered in the transgressive breeding, because the meaning of this backcross breeding is to correct the defects of the popular variety. But of course, through some modification, or if you have got BC1 and then if you cross it with another third variety, you get more variability. Fourth variety backcross, more variability. Then you are backcrossing with the recurrent parent. So more variability you are going to get, and because of more variability you can get good transgressive segregants. But transgressive segregants, if you are getting, you are going to develop an entirely new variety. Transgressive breeding is going to develop a new variety that will not be improved version. So you can very well see the merits of all the backcross method. Now you can see some demerits also of backcross. So if you see the demerits, you can see one by one. New genotype is generally not superior to recurrent parent except for the trait which is incorporated in that. No problem. My objective is that I'm going to develop the same variety with added genes. So there is no need of higher yield of the. Of course, if you are getting a better yield than that, along with all phenotypic traits similar to that, that is very good. So generally, you are not getting that because we are not doing for that. But this is very problematic. Undesirable closely linked genes with the gene being transferred to the improved variety producing linkage drags. This is the biggest problem in backcross breeding. If you are willing to transfer a single gene, of course that is located on a chromosome, maybe on chromosome number 1, and by side, if some undesirable genes are located in the donor parent, which is undesirable, you are requiring to remove all the genes of that donor parent except that gene which you are transferring. So that is creating lot of trouble, because if on the same chromosome as well as the if undesirable gene is tightly linked with your that desirable gene, then it creates a lot of trouble. You may not get success because of this. So you have to see this also. If it is creating problem, you are going to get a lot of linkage drag, lot of other unwanted genes in your variety. So that has been at last you are testing all the things. If you are getting the improved version similar to your parent, your recurrent parent, with the added gene, then it means you didn't get linkage drag. So this is very important, that you should not have linkage drag. You have to see while testing the plants in recurrent backcross breeding. Every year selection is required, every year hybridization is required. So you keep in your mind that every year breeder has to go to the field for proper selection and hybridization. But this is the most problematic thing you see. You see how many years has been taken in this breeding method. So say for example, if you are taking 12 years, 13 years in improving and giving the improved version of a particular variety, and you know that this breeding is continuous process, every year varieties are released. If any variety during this period has become more popular than the earlier popular variety, then farmers are not going to accept this again, because they will say, sir, we have got better yield variety, why I am going to cultivate this? So this has to be kept in your mind. The breeders must have to keep in their mind. Of course, now because of the molecular assisted backcross breeding, which has helped a lot to reduce the time by half, maybe better, after testing all these 5-6 years, maybe. So you have to be cautious about these things, these demerits also. Now we will be dealing about the achievements. If you talk about achievements, earlier many mega varieties have been improved by conventional backcross method. If you go back to Kalyan Sona, when it became rust susceptible, so that was improved, the improved Kalyan Sona. Likewise, so many varieties till the start of the molecular assisted backcross breeding, it was extensively used. Of course, nowadays nobody is using this backcross breeding method now, because this has given the boost to conventional backcross breeding method, that molecular assisted backcross breeding, it has reduced the time which is being taken in conventional method. So of course the product is almost similar to backcross as well as to, but because of the fine mapping, fine identification of the particular gene which you are going to transfer, because of the foreground selection, background selection, all these things, the fine mapping, you are going to get very fast that improved version. As you have seen that in case of rice, the Swarna was the mega varieties, and it was flood susceptible, and because of the recurrent feature of flood, lot of thousands and thousands hectares rice crop is destroyed. So now this Swarna sub 1 improved version through molecular assisted breeding is being cultivated by the farmers, and because of the flood they are able to cultivate that. There is no reduction in the yield potential, of course. So this is all about backcross breeding. Molecular breeding will be taught in other subject, in molecular breeding subject. So here I would like to say that the center which is not having the molecular facilities, and the breeder who is willing to do at his own without having much expenditure, because this requires much expenditure, this requires laboratory, this requires a lot of fund involvement. So breeder is not willing to not able to get all those facilities. He can go for backcross breeding, because product you are going to get similar, almost similar to that. So this is all about backcross breeding, its merits, demerits, achievements. Now I'll be dealing with the backcross breeding method for your for transferring the recessive genes. Thanking you very much.